This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. RAMP.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the smell of a warm 3-day-old egg salad sandwich in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy! Blech!
And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag with new Fabuloso lemon scent.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Smell the difference? When life gives you stinky, get Hefty Ultra Strong with new Fabuloso lemon scent. It smells like clean, freshly picked lemons. So no matter what's inside your trash, you can stop the stink and smell the lemon.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tyler with Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, bringing you a brand new episode of the Foul Pole to Foul Pole podcast. This week, my guest is none other than Jami Lobpries, the CEO of the Alliance Fastpitch. We get into a discussion about how the Alliance came about, what makes the Alliance so great, some of the misconceptions surrounding the Alliance, and the direction in the future for Jami and the Alliance Fastpitch. Check it out. All right, Jami, thanks for joining me today. It's an honor to speak with you. Again, thank you so much, and welcome to Foul Pole to Foul Pole.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk more.
I'm glad you're here. You know, it's good to have people like you that love talking about softball onto the podcast, because I think it spreads, you know, a lot of the good word about it and kind of where the sport has come from and where the sport is going. So the Alliance, I mean, you're the CEO. I mean, you're the brains of it. You got a great network with you. How did this thing come about, and how did you get to where you are today?
It's incredible. We talk a lot with the Alliance of it. It's hard to believe we're really only 2 years old. And I think that, you know, the business itself, literally August 1st, 2020 became real. But the conversations, I think the need in the marketplace, the relationships, a lot of that stuff was happening in the background, where it really just became this organic need in our sport. So really the story behind the Alliance is starting to work together in unity. I've spent a lot of time in the industry at various different levels. And I think the one common denominator in our sport was it's fragmented. Everybody operates in silos. Everybody's kind of out for their own thing. It's like, what if we actually worked together? What if we put our resources together? It would make us stronger. And I had a really impactful conversation with Kim Ng in Major League Baseball. And she was looking, at the time, she wasn't with the Marlins, but she was with MLB. And she's like, Jami, MLB wants to get in. Where do we go? And that really resonated with me, because if MLB, if corporate sponsors, if media, the industries that we really need to get into the sport to make this thing grow like we all want it to, they need to know where to go, and we have to work together. And so I think with the Alliance, it's really this concept, like we compete, we're all competitors, right? We just wrapped up our national championships, and some of the people that sit on our executive board went after it in the national championship game, but they can shake hands and be friends. And we were all on a Zoom call this past Tuesday. And you see that across other sports, right? So we hope that we're just kind of the start in the sport of showing that working together truly can make a difference and can propel softball to, I think, where we all want it to go.
You know, the camaraderie between the head coaches and, you know, the brass of these top organizations, and you're able to lean on them for advice, and you guys are kind of able to come together. What has that meant to the early success that you guys have had?
Well, that's where it all starts with people. And I mean, we are surrounded by great people who share the same passion. And you look at some of these people like a Mike Stith, a Marty Tyson, a Tony Rico, Scott Smith. I mean, people that have been in this industry working, volunteering their time and doing a lot of things for 15, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about the Alliance, it's really led by a group of people that their direct, I don't want to say direct reports, but their direct responsibility are athletes and parents. And so when you get that group of people that is completely, their boots on the ground, they're working with athletes and families, and that's their main responsibility, that's who's leading our sport. And that's what's leading the Alliance, in the fact that we want to put the player first. We want to think about the families. Every decision that we're making, we're trying to say, all right, is this best for the sport of softball? Is this best for the athletes themselves? Right. And that's a testament to the people that make this thing up. I mean, when we started this thing as the Alliance and working together for the common purpose, we've truly become friends. And it's been really fun to just get to know these different people throughout the country that are working, whether it's at the league level or the Alliance level.
Yeah. When people hear me say that, these coaches, they're working together. Yeah, they do want to beat each other. And it's a part of the competition. I mean, that's what makes it work. But these guys also love the successes of their competitors too, because they know it's growing the game. So we have this end goal, whether you're coaching rec or you're at the top of the game with the national team. We all want to have a successful sport. Earning your way in, not just having these big names like the Firecrackers or the Bombers or the Stars, Batbusters, not just having that name. You have to earn it to get in there. So, was that like one main focus point? You got to earn your way.
That's really what started it. There was a conversation, I want to say it was about 3 years ago, and I wasn't in it. It was Mike Stith and Tony Rico, Scott Smith, Greg Schnuty, and they're the heads of big organizations. And I think they started looking at this of just the inequities that are in our sport, that it shouldn't matter what name is on the front, and birth shouldn't be handed out to just, oh, well, I like you, Tyler, I don't like you, or your past history. No, like, it's a new team this year. And that's what these girls will face at the next level, or shoot, even in life, right? Like, we all have to compete and grind and earn our way to something, or at least we should. That's how I was raised. But I think that's the important part. And, even in our game, I think college coaches were starting to see, like, these kids were getting on campus and they didn't know how to compete, because they were showcasing all the time. They're playing in 60-minute games. They weren't finishing 7 innings and earning their way. Man, that just teaches, when we talk about sports and what it teaches, whether it's female or male athletes, and the just having to compete to the end and that feeling of earning something, that's probably one of the most proud things of getting that culture back into our sport. I think it's really important. And I think that it levels the playing field. It gives a team, I'm from a small town, so I understand whether it's a singular athlete or a team, that, hey, you get your shot, right? Like, everybody's going to start here. You get your shot, and if you keep winning and competing, then you're going to earn your way, just as everybody else.
I mean, competition being the root of the success of the Alliance, I think, is what everybody can grab onto and understand. Like, hey, they want the elite of the elite playing against the elite of the elite, so they are prepared for college, because that's what's there. I've talked to a lot of different coaches that are saying a lot of these athletes, it doesn't matter the sport, they're not prepared for the competition. I mean, they are bigger, faster, and stronger. Just with how things happen, we get bigger, faster, and stronger. But the mental side of it is just not there, because the competition, we're, like you said, we're fractured. This World Series, this national tournament, this and this, it does some good, but until we can get the majority of the top teams in one place at one time to crown a champion and create that competition, I think a lot of it's kind of lacking until we get to that point. I think that's where we're at now with the Alliance. Where did the league kind of idea come from? And then where has it gotten to now as far as the growth and how many leagues you have?
One of the things we wanted to get back to the sport was that development aspect.
Right.
It goes back to being led by the heads of teams, but really focusing on development, and then creating a community of learning, community of sharing as well. So that when you finish a tournament on Sunday, you don't just go home. on Monday, we want to hit your inbox with one of our partners or one of our resources. So the fact of creating this community centered around player development and tools, that too, like not only are we leveling the playing field literally on the field, but off the field as well, and giving all kids access to the best in recruiting, the best in instruction and training. So we're trying to do that as well, which I think is a key piece. And it is, I mean, because the competition is key. It's the core of what we do, but it's also, there's a place for everybody within the Alliance, and that's what we want to grow to. And to your point on the leagues, that it really was, I mean, the timing, it's like one of the only things where COVID helped us in regards to timing, because it gave people time back to kind of sit and reflect. And then Texas, as we know, Texas is one of the first states to open up and to allow play and different things going on. So they're looking around like, well, shoot, we're not going to be able to go to our big tournament in Colorado. We're not going to be able to go out to California for a big tournament. So how do we still make this competitive for our kids and give them, you know, the same opportunities? And so they started working together. They put points and kind of structure around the different events in Texas. And that really gave a blueprint. Heart of America started the same thing. They're in the Midwest. And then Southern California was working on the same thing. They had a little bit more restrictions, but they still. And so at that time, it's like you saw it. We're sitting back and saying, okay, this league popped up and this league popped up. And we could have, they could have just kept going. And once again, we all operate in silos, but the Alliance brought it together. And so that's what bringing it all the leagues under one roof. When we created, it was after the fall of the first season, we created the Alliance rating system, one universal point system. It's the ELO rating system. It's used across sports. But when we implemented that across all the leagues, I think that changed the game, because now it's the first time that it doesn't matter if you're in a USSSA event, a USA event, a Triple Crown event, an unsanctioned event, we can pull those game results and then spit back out a number very similar to like RPI in college. And based on your quality of opponent, your score goes up. Based on your results, score goes up or down. So that to me is what really added even more value to the leagues and created this consistency. And then the idea, you know, we started with 6, and then like different pockets kind of popped up. I'll never forget Joe Breer in the Northwest reaching out like, do you have anybody in the Northwest? And the California guys are like, no, please, like we need somebody to take over who understands that part of the country. And so now these different voices have popped up in different parts of the country, and they can speak on behalf of their region. You know, what does their region need? What's different? Whether it's player recognition and helping identify some of the top players. So that's really where the league started and how they've evolved. And then we're even within the leagues, we're continuing to see growth and more people actively get involved. That's kind of a long-winded answer. Sorry.
I love it. I think that's huge as far as making sure the like talent is playing against like talent, because I mean there's different levels of the next level, if I can say that. I mean there's Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, so there's different levels, and you don't want to run into a situation where there's one powerhouse team, one powerhouse organization, and they don't have anywhere to play, and they're just going there dominating these other teams, which are still good. They're just not on that level. So you want like teams playing against each other, because it creates a better, you know, pocket of competition for that. And I think that's huge. What the Alliance is doing is there's, like you were saying, there's a place for everyone to benefit from what you guys are doing. I love the point system that you guys got. That's incredible.
Well, and just like what you said that's how we restructured based on feedback. That's a nice thing too. We're nimble. We can listen to our customers and then make adjustments. But after the first year, so going into our first national, you went in as a tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 3. And that was really confusing. And it was really difficult to manage. So this year, everybody started out in that pool of, it was max of 96. But then based on how you placed in your regional, that seeded you into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And then at that point, it's like the tournament starts over. And then those kids still had an opportunity to go out and compete, but it kind of leveled the playing field. Or even I saw with recruiting, you know, at our 16U tier 3 Final Four, there were still college coaches that were there watching. And it kind of helps them like, okay, here's 16U tier 1, 16U tier 2, 16U tier 3. There's a lot of opportunities for kids to play college softball at the next level. Not every rosters are small. Not everybody can play at a Power 5, right? And there's great academic institutions. There's great coaches out there at all the levels. And so that was kind of cool too, to see how just our tiering system helped with that. And that's why I say there really is a place for everybody. And I hope that continues to grow with the Alliance.
This year, the tier system was a little bit different. How did you guys do this year compared to the year past?
Yeah, that was the biggest difference. In year one, it was almost like you were tiered based on your league and how you finished. But now with the point system, everybody was at the same. And then we utilized a seeding committee to kind of look at game results, look at various head-to-head matchups, just like the NCAA seeding committee. And that put the top 32 seeds into the 16 regionals. Again, very similar to college softball, right? And then it worked itself out. So you'd have 5 to 6 teams in a regional. And if you finished top 2, you advanced to tier 1. If you finished 3rd or 4th, you went to tier 2. And it was only the 16U age division where we had 96 teams. Then the 5th and 6th place teams out of regional went to tier 3. And like I said, then they started over and competed in supers, Elite 8, into the championship series.
I think that's going to bring me to my next point. You talked about the 16U having so many. In years past, I think 16U was getting kind of, I don't want to say left behind, but you could identify the unicorns at 14U because they were jumping to playing 18U right away. And the 16U was kind of like, I don't want to say left behind, but it was it wasn't promoted. The players that were playing 16U weren't promoted the right way, I don't think, and being actively recruited in the right way. So this past year, with so many 16U teams that were there, I know that there was college coaches that were already putting players and stuff on their radar. With 3 different tiers, they're able to see that competition. How big was the 16U this year for you to see those, that elite level at 16U?
Yeah, when I look at it across the board of our registration, 16U is the most, then 14U, then 18U. And I think that's a kind of a microcosm of just the sport in general. Mm-hmm. But it is, and I think the early recruiting, kind of put a dent on 16U several years ago. So you're seeing that come back. Yeah. And there's a maturity level, right? I just watched the 14s, and you look at the 14s versus the 16s, and there are some kids still, like the exceptions that jump to the 18s. But I think the parity across the board was strong at 16s. The competition was really good. And it just gives another level of play for those kids and maturity.
I think that's huge. Outside of the tournaments, what is Alliance doing kind of behind the scenes, camps, clinics, that kind of stuff? What's Alliance doing that we need to know about?
I think the biggest thing that maybe we didn't necessarily intend or set out to do this, but we've become kind of like the vetting process for families. So a lot of my time is spent working with partners out in the field that are doing different things within the sport. And so then it's looking at those partners and saying, okay, well, if we have 1,000+ teams in the Alliance, how can we give them access to what you're doing, and trying to lower the cost for all of our members, and just to bring them the best resources that are out there. Because I think it's hard, and I'm not a parent, but I think it's really difficult to be a parent. Or even if you look at the majority of coaches in youth softball, they're volunteers, right? They're a parent, or it's a side gig. It's not their main job. There's only a few that this is their main job. So they don't have a lot of time. Well, it's difficult. It's difficult to register. It's difficult to find tournaments. It's difficult to know what's going on. And so that's our vision. Can we simplify the process, starting at registration? Like I want to steal Dick's Sporting Goods. Your season starts here, because if we can make that easier, and then show whether it's the right player development tools, the right tournaments. There's a lot of great tournament providers out there, and we don't want to disrupt that industry. We want to just help point you to the right direction based on whatever part of the country that you live in. So that's going on. We have a few things. We just signed. This actually isn't out yet. but we just signed a facility partnership where a company called EL1 will be the official softball training facility partner of the Alliance. And so we've got, we're already working on one in Southern California, one in New Jersey, and they have a partnership with Major League Baseball. And I think the vision there is having a physical footprint across the country where now we can start to really develop kids where they can come into a training center. They get access to whether it's different technologies or instructions, but I'm really excited about that and where we're going. And that's different, right? That's not we're not just putting on a tournament or a camp or something. Like we're truly trying to get into the development, the long-term sustainability for these kids and the coaches.
I think that is a direct investment into our youth. Gives, these females something to get into, and they can see a clear path of this is what this could turn into. And it's not just athletics, it's them growing mentally in the classroom. There's a lot of different scenarios where they're playing and then there's like a dead end. There's nothing to come from this. I don't know. So now with you guys doing what you're doing, you give these girls opportunities, you give them a pathway to continue, whether it's to go play D1 or it's to go coach, be an assistant coach somewhere after they graduate. There's always this path. And I think you guys are opening the door for them to understand this and see this. And I think that's incredible.
Well, even, thinking about the facility, part of it, of what we're all passionate about is employing softball players, where whether they're instructors or whether it's general manager positions, I'm really passionate about keeping our women in the game, whether that is them coaching, leading. Even if I look at my staff, they're former softball players, or several of them are. But now we look at this facility model and how can we provide real pathways and career pathways and progression? I get excited. That would be my dream, to just have this massive pipeline and giving girls opportunities after they're done playing or maybe even while they're playing.
When you think outside, positions in softball, either you're coaching, assistant coaching, helping out some way, or you're playing the game. There's not a whole lot of us think about, these other positions, these housing, having a facility where people can go, being an instructor, being a trainer, being, an assistant coach somewhere, doing something for these organizations or these teams that are around locally to just keep growing the game, whether it's, just providing some equipment or, some guidance. I hear a lot, that just, if you're either coaching a team, that's it. And it's just like a part-time thing and they're just coaching because they have a kid on it or something like that. But getting these athletes to come back and have a spot, have a position to be able to continue their career once their playing days are over for whatever reason. I think that's incredible.
I will never forget, it was my senior year at Texas A&M, and I was in the office of my head coach, Joe Evans, and at that point I had to start thinking about a job, right? And I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so I just asked her I don't even know what I was asking, but like, hey, what are jobs that in women's sports? Because I was just really passionate about it. And I couldn't see myself working in an office or doing something else other than being involved in women's sports. And there just weren't a lot of opportunities. And my coaches are some of the best mentors and role models, and coaches are super important. For me, being a coach, I didn't think that was my pathway. So I'm like, well, what else is there? So I kind of had a really weird route, of non-traditional route. But if I can help with that, like what you're saying, is showing these women that, hey, there's great coaching opportunities, whether at the youth level, collegiate level, there's instruction, and then there's the business side of it too. I think that would be something that would love to help show. And I get it all the time of even people I played with or played against. They're working corporate jobs, but they have that itch to get back into softball in some way, whether it's minor or major. And so again, providing that platform to get these women back in the game is big.
Yeah, I have a business degree in focusing on sports tourism and learning, during this, you can see two sides of it. You hear the report saying that youth sports is dying. Well, what they're doing is they're looking at the rec level. They're not looking at the business side of youth sports and how travel or AAU and stuff like that is taking over. It is a multi-billion-dollar.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Industry, just worldwide, and there is a lot of opportunity to get into the business side of this. What has Alliance done, just partnering with the right people? Speak a little bit about the partners that you've accumulated over the past couple of years, and has helped make Alliance a success.
Well, I think number one was the partnerships with the associations of the event companies. So USA Softball was really important for us, and supporting the growth of our national teams and programming. USSSA in regards to tournaments, events, and Triple Crown. And those three hosting our national championships coming out of the gates, I think was really powerful, and showing hey, we're opening up our arms. We want to work with you. And then even at the local level, we have a lot of various USSSA sanctioned, USA sanctioned, and Triple Crown events that are part of our league points events or qualifiers. And I think that part is super important. Some of the others, like Under Armour coming in, as I'm repping my Under Armour. I mean, that's $1 billion global brand that came in. They want to invest in softball. They want to invest in the female athletes. What they've done for our all-star athletes it's just cool. The swag, everything, just the treatment. It's first class. And that's what our female athletes deserve, right? Because you see it all the time with the boys of these high school All-American games and different things. So I'm really proud of that one. You spoke to tourism. We've now developed some relationships like Chattanooga Sports, and we just had our Open National there, and they've been incredible partners. We were just in Indiana with Hamilton County and Visit Kokomo, and just we're starting to see some of these just local CVBs pour in the hospitality. And obviously we're bringing a big event and we're bringing a lot of visitors to their town, but that part's important. And I've fielded several calls in the past couple months, whether it's sports commissions or just different, parts of the country that, hey, we want to make an investment into softball. How can we bring the Alliance here? Or what can we do? So I'm excited to see that growth. I think the non-endemics, right, are starting to look at softball as a real business venture, which is a good thing.
I think that leads me to my next point about there's a big misconception, I think, about the Alliance and what the Alliance is and what the Alliance is trying to do. The Alliance isn't trying to take over and push anybody out. The Alliance is trying to not only bring softball together, but the world, like the communities, the local communities, trying to be a part of it and just play a role in that. What's the biggest misconception that you have heard about what you guys are trying to do? Like, is there anything that you just want to set the record straight? Like, we're not the bad people. Like, we're not trying to compete with this or that. Like,
It's so funny. I think if you meet me, this is what you get. Very just, and I think in a sense, it's that same persona with the Alliance. I've been using the phrase positive disruptor because we've come in and disrupted the industry mostly because we're walking hand in hand saying, hey, guess what? We're going to work together. Yeah. And that's weird. That's disrupting our industry. Probably one of the biggest misconceptions, you're spot on, is that we want to come in and take over the world, that we want to disrupt current events, that we want to, let me tell you, I do not want to be a sanctioning body. No way. That's not, we're not in the tournament business. We partner with events. And that's probably the biggest one, is that people think we're another one of the alphabets or we're another event company. Right. And that's not true at all. It's truly, it's very comparable like the NCAA, the positive sides of that, right? Where our leagues are the conferences. And we've got a point system and hey, we have a pathway and qualification to national championships, and it's a membership company.
Right.
And that's probably another one. Typically when you register for something at the youth level, it's all about like insurance and the ability to play in events.
Right.
When you become a member of the Alliance, you're then given access to all of our membership benefits. It's the same reason of why I become a member of like my gym, right? I get it at a certain discounted price, and I get access to a community. I get every now and then we get free. It's all these different resources, right? And so that's trying to just change the narrative that you're an Alliance member. It's not about registration. That's something I'll continue to do, especially as we head into the new season.
I've seen the perks go from like year 1 to year 2, like different things. The members are getting more, Talk about some of the stuff that once you become a member of the Alliance, talk about the key perks and talk about what that means to not only the team, but the coach, the organization. What does that mean?
I'm going to sit up a little. I get really excited about this one. So, think about in a youth athlete's journey or youth softball player, what does she need, right? She's going to need, at some point, she needs help with recruiting. So NCSA is our official recruiting partner. And what they get for discounts for our members, it's half the cost just by being an Alliance member. So they're going to need that. Two that I'm really, really proud of. One is high-level throwing in Austin Wasserman. I think what he's doing with high-level throwing is changing the game. I mean, it's literally going to save bodies and arms. But every softball player has to throw, right? So why not give them access to somebody that's teaching it correctly? Visual Edge it's a vision evaluation training company. So people don't think about, that's one of the most important. Like we want exit velocity, we want launch angles. Well, guess what? If you can't see the ball and pick up pitches, you can't hit the ball. I don't care how pretty your swing is. So the fact that now we can Visual Edge not only measures where you are, but you can also train and get better. That is something that you can actually work on these 6 core competencies with your vision and get better. We just announced a partnership with a company called Versus, where all coaches this year who register, they're going to get a free subscription. I want to say it's like $199. They get it for free if you're an Alliance member, and you get that through the end of the year. Athletes are going to get a steeply discounted. Versus their softball lineup is Jenny Finch, Tim Walton, Amanda Lorenz, Jessica Mendoza, Kat Osterman, the Romero sisters are coming. So, and this is like, think masterclass, but for sports, and even like Fernando Tatis and Pujols. I mean, that's pretty incredible technology and information that our members are going to get either for free or super discounted. And there's several, we're partnered with Wilson's been a big partner. Marucci, we started a partnership with them. Everybody needs a bat. Everybody needs a glove, right? Getting these discounted prices. And that's something that we're going to continue to do, I think, is how do we help coaches and how do we help youth athletes in their journey?
Right. If that doesn't make you want to become a member of the Alliance, we're all trying to do the same thing here, and there's benefits to doing what you want to do. It's just, I think the Alliance is taking the softball world by storm, doing it the right way. And I think the more people listen to you talk about what the Alliance truly is, I think the membership is just going to increase. I mean, there's more, from year 1 to year 2, what you guys have done. I mean, the membership has gone up. What can you scale that right now? Can you see kind of, where it's trending to?
Yeah, scalability is a big thing. I mean, I think there's certain parts of the country, you hit it earlier talking about, the eastern part of the country. We don't have a lot of growth there. And that's really important, I think, for the future of not just the Alliance, but for the future of our sport. And so changing some misconceptions around that. International is big for me. I think we have a really unique ability to scale our infrastructure, because if you think about it, if we can put some of our programming and resources across the world, now kids all over the world are getting better at softball, and that keeps our sport in the Olympics, right? We need better competition. We need more countries developing softball. We have a couple Canada organizations, and they're the ones that brought it to our attention of just the ability to utilize what we're doing. And even at our registration process, now a parent could go on and say, hey, I have dual citizenship, or my kid has dual citizenship. Now we can help. If you look at the Canadian rosters, the Mexico rosters, it's a lot of US born players that have family members or might have dual citizenship. So now if we could supply that to some of these countries, like that, to me, the sky's the limit there of what we can do for the sport. I'm big on rec leagues. We all started there, right? Whether you were a coach, an athlete, an umpire, there's probably, people think that travel ball like ruined rec leagues, and it probably did at some level, but we all started at rec league. So how can we be a support system for rec leagues, and help provide some of practice plans, the throwing, the arm care, how can we use some of our resources and get that down to the grassroots? Because we grow that base of the pyramid, or I guess you can say the pie, then everybody wins.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different factors that involved with kind of rec stumbling a little bit now. I think economy had something to do with that too. I mean, the state programs and stuff like that. I hate that it's either rec or travel. I love our local rec. The numbers are down because of travel. They don't think they can do both. And it's just misinformation. It truly is it's misinformation on a lot of that. On the top end of that, the international game needs some help. I mean, there's a couple of countries that, really push forward with their softball game. If we could get this thing to scale internationally, I think it's going to help, like you said, keep the game in the Olympics.
Absolutely.
There's no game like it right now. The speed of the game. I mean, we're talking 60-foot bases. We're, the long ball. I mean, I don't want to diminish what baseball has done. They're speeding their game up. Well, softball game, it's always been fast. I mean, these athletes are incredible. The long ball there, you got pitchers that are dominant. You got speed on the base pass. You got incredible plays that we just got through watching. The College World Series a couple months ago. So, I mean, it's out there for the Olympics to take it and run with it on the international level. The main thing, I think the main concern is, where are they going to play? Like, what facilities do they have to where they can put a softball skin on a baseball, diamond? What's your opinion on that? How can we get this game, not only international, but a professional league that is ran a lot like baseball?
Yeah, well, when you said the facilities, that was interesting last year because we played our national championship in Oklahoma City, and that's a big deal, right? Our all-star game is on the field, the national championship, where the Women's College World Series plays. And from there, then it's like, okay, well, where do we go after that? And to host a youth tournament, you need a lot of fields. So where do you find a lot of fields with a softball stadium? And I mean, playing in the pro league, I played on a lot of baseball fields. Right. We did a whole barnstorming tour through the eastern part of the country in minor league baseball stadiums.
And with that, they're not going to put that on TV. It's not pleasing to the eye, right? So we're not going to watch that. I mean, they're not going to get those visual numbers because softball skin sitting on top of baseball, it just looks weird. It doesn't look right. So, that's where we're at.
I'll tell you, Tyler, what got me back into the game, what made me want to stay in softball, was my playing experience in the pro league. I am super passionate. I might be the most passionate person, even though I don't say it all the time, about professional softball.
Yeah.
And I've taken a little bit different path to get there, but that is at the forefront of everything that I do. And I think a lot of individual people are really passionate about it. I think there's been a lot of efforts, even recently, of things that we have going on. I think my one shout out is, guys, same thing. We have to work together, and we need real investment into it, right? We can't be splitting time with our players. We need to pay the players. Yeah. We need an investment into the players and into facilities. And until we get that, it's going to be a struggle of trying to play, during the summer and around youth events. I think there's value in that, and we've seen that over the past few years, but I think we've got to have some big time. We're seeing it in the WNBA, we're seeing it in the NWSL, we're seeing it even in women's professional hockey. And so softball's got to be next, right? We've got to have some people come forward with business plans and real investments into it.
I agree. I mean, I think regionally, because I mean, if you got a team in Florida and another team in Oregon, I mean, by the time you get the travel and all that stuff taken care of, I mean, there's no money in it unless we got some big time investors that are willing to work with us and just put the game on TV. You know, media money is huge. I mean, you just look at the big conferences right now. Look at all the media deals that they sign. That's where all the money comes from.
It's huge. Yeah. Well, and we've shown time and time again that softball does well on television. So in that sense, we got to have somebody, and maybe there's an upfront investment. They didn't all start at getting that money, right? A lot of times they had to put that money up. Mm-hmm. But we've proven the eyeballs. It just comes down to, hey, let's sit at a table and let's figure out the business model of what this thing could be.
I mean, that would be something to see in the next couple of years or whatever, the Alliance Professional, Fastpitch League or something like that. I mean, I can definitely see you on the sitting on the board or on the, the CEO of that company. I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, especially with somebody like you, has that drive, has that passion, has that vision that wants it, that's passionate about it. I think it's huge. When you started playing ball years ago, did you think that you would get to this point right here where we are at with Fastpitch?
No chance, because I was playing baseball. I played baseball my entire life. I played 1 year. I'd literally run across the street and I'd play on my little league baseball team and then go play on the girls softball team. And after one season, I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to go back to baseball. So I was 14. I was a freshman in high school and I really started playing softball. And at that time, I was a club soccer player. I knew about playing in college because of what I did in soccer. That's probably influenced me a lot too, because the structure in soccer is way different. I think it's one of the standards in youth sports, and something we can strive to get to. But I played in the Olympic Development Program, was a part of our South Texas ODP. So I was playing at a really high level, thought I was going to college in that, tore my ACL as a sophomore in high school. And it just kind of shifted my thinking and kind of reevaluating. It kind of, I guess, hit pause for me. Yeah. And I love softball, and it was still new to me, and it was fun. It was enough like baseball. I got a little bored in soccer, and I had no left foot at all. So my ceiling was a little bit lower. But once I got playing, and I just fell in love with the game, and was very fortunate at Texas A&M, both who I played with as teammates and who I played for and my head coach. And then I was really impacted in the NPF. I was treated like crap, right? Like my team went bankrupt. We were league owned, but I was always drawn to the players and the women who sacrificed quite a bit. My second year was 2010. And that's when a lot of the USA players all came together and said, hey, we're going to invest in this pro league. We're going to go play in the pro league and not, because softball was out of the Olympics at that point. And when Caitlin Lowe and Monica Abbott and Kat Osterman and Ashley Charters and Lauren Lappin, when those players step forward and do something like that, you're like, oh, wow. Okay. Like, how can I contribute in a little way, kind of like what they're doing? So I love it. And I've been truly impacted by some great people. And for me, like, that's the important part. Like, how can I continue the legacies of all these individuals who poured so much into the game of softball?
It's that give back that you have in your heart, I think that comes out in your personality and talking with you. I wish the Alliance nothing but success, and continued success. I think the relationships and the bonds that you personally have made, and with the coaches and how everyone is kind of pulling the same direction, it's awesome to see. And I'm just a small piece of this huge puzzle that I'm absolutely I'm in love with doing what I do, being able to talk with you guys, and whether it's Coach Rico, or it's Coach Smith, or it's you, or it's Tom Bunn up in Virginia, just whoever I talk to. I mean, everybody that's on board with it is just like, we need this. and they all give you the praise for doing it. And we appreciate everything that you do for us, the game. If I can speak for all the athletes involved in fast pitch, I mean, thank you so much for doing what you do.
I appreciate that. And trust me, it is not an individual effort. I mean, I'm going to pour everything I can into it, and continue. I was shaped by leaving things better than you found it. And that's my look on the sport. But the people I'm surrounded by on a daily basis, it just fuels me. It's truly good people that are really, really passionate. And there's more out there. And I'm excited to meet those people and continue to bring them into the Alliance as well.
That's awesome. Well, as we get out of here, what does Jami Lobpries have going on right now? What's her today? What's she doing? What's she got in 6 months, a year? What's on the horizon for you?
I'm literally about to jump on a meeting with the Northeast League to talk about the growth there. But for me right now, it's closing out the 2022 season. So we're wrapping that up, getting all that information out, but we're really gearing up for the 23 season. And I get goosebumps thinking about it. Just we're a lot smarter today than we were 2 years ago. And next year we'll be smarter than we are today. Continuing to grow, continuing to evolve. But that's my day-to-day is kind of a combo of recapping and then prepping to launch our season on August 22nd.
I can't wait. I thank you again for taking the time out of your day to talk to me. It was truly a pleasure. I'm glad to have this friendship and for us to be able to talk and try to help grow the game as best I can. And I'll be watching. Congratulations on all the successes.
Well, I appreciate it. And I thank you for what you're doing. I think it's really important to continue to get information out there. So thank you for letting me be a small part of the show.
Oh, thank you so much. And we'll talk again soon, I'm sure.
I hope so.
All right, that's going to wrap it for this episode. Big time shout out to Jami for joining me today. I had a super time, a lot of fun talking to her. She answered a lot of my questions, and you can just tell how passionate she is about this stuff, man. The Alliance is doing big time things in a short amount of time. I mean, you think back just a couple of years ago, this thing was it was getting started. A couple of guys sitting around with a Google Doc trying to figure out how they were going to be able to play a national summer schedule. And look where it's at today. Jami's doing a great job. She's encircled herself with a huge support staff. She's able to lean on a lot of these guys and girls to figure out what's the best thing for the Alliance. The partnerships that she's been able to grow throughout the last couple of years is huge. It's not only big for the Alliance, but it's big for the sport. And at the end of the day, that's why we're all here. That's why we do what we do. That's why I do my podcast. It's to grow the sport, to get as much information out as we possibly can. So again, big shout out to Jami. Continued success. I know the future is bright, and I can't wait to see more from the Alliance. If you like this type of content, make sure you're hitting that like button and you're subscribing to the channel. And when you share this video or you share this podcast with a friend, make sure you tell them you love them.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.